Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Now, we are joined by Eli, Refracted Curvature, Neil, Righteous Force, Arwin, 10th Man, and a whole bunch of people in Discord. So welcome one and all.
What is Ether?
Hey, hello everybody.
Hey, it's good to be here.
Morning.
Hello, One Deck.
Good morning.
Good morning. It is a good
Good
morning.
morning.
Afternoon for me.
I came to chew bubblegum and crap on the globe. I'm all out of bubblegum.
Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere-edge horizon, formerly known as the curve of the Earth?
No. Yeah.
Did you bring your
Nah, the
Did you
horizon,
bring your bazooka?
the horizon is not, it's not a physical location. It's an apparent location.
Yeah, the horizon's not Earth curve.
Apparent? What do you mean apparent? I heard on the show the other
Meaning
day
we can see it.
that the sky touches the water.
No, the sky doesn't touch the
Well,
water. Apparent means looks
the
like,
horizon,
appears, but not
the-
actual. So
the
it
horizon-
appears
the horizon
like
is
it appears like the sky touches the ground at the horizon. That's its definition. But it's the apparent
What the guy
position where the sky meets the ground, because it doesn't actually. Appearing but not actually. That's what apparent means.
So he got it wrong then, the gentleman that said it actually touches the water?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I heard David White say that it literally touches the water.
Oh, right, yeah. Dave Weiss said it literally touches the water. No, it doesn't literally touch the water. No.
He
The-
knows
the
it
apparent-
doesn't
apparent
literally touch
horizon.
the water. Come on.
Oh,
Dude.
why are you always defending him, Eli? Come on, you're on our team.
Because
Stop
it's
it.
ridiculous to think that he. Come on, like this is the kind of weak shit I don't like. Like, it's much better ways to.
Don't
like,
bounce. That's what he said, Eli. If you don't like it, bounce.
That's what he
I'm gonna hold him
said.
to it.
That's not what he. Okay, so when
Oh,
a
you're
flatter,
gonna
when a
be
globe-
like Winston now
Eli and
start
Neil,
interpreting?
you gotta let him put forth his rebuttal, do his little PR bit for Dave. Just let him.
when a globe earther holds you to some words that you said in jest, but everyone knows is obviously ridiculous, like I don't know, they do to me every day. Like my name is literally Elijah Three Sons in a Discord. And that's the dumb shit that I don't like. Not from anyone.
What do they
Neil.
call
I
you?
don't care who it is.
Elijah what?
Eli, he said it literally
Hold
touches
on, hold on. What do
the
they call
freaking
you?
water.
Hold on. What do they call you?
Elijah Three Sons. And let me give context
I didn't hear it.
because
I didn't hear it though.
Elijah Three Sons.
3 sons.
Should have been 3 teams.
Okay, let me
Yeah.
give context. Go ahead, Eli.
You know,
Because I took an observation of the sun, and when you invert the image, it looks exactly like Thra's 3 sons, Thra from the Dark Crystal. The reason I brought it up was to say most people that are in entertainment take their imagery from reality. Perhaps they've captured a picture of the sun like this, inverted it, and got the idea from that. That's what I said.
Okay, seems reasonable.
No, that's
Oh.
not.
Different what
Obviously, that's
Dave
not parallel to what Dave said, because Dave said it literally touches the. But he didn't mean. I know for a fact he didn't mean that.
Okay.
Right,
because
Elijah,
of
No,
the
no,
context-
no, nobody else. Neil's the one with the objection here. Let Neil respond to him. Go ahead, Neil.
He said it literally touches the sky. Don't start being like Whitsid and start explaining what they meant.
No, it's different. It's different when you're explaining someone's intent And then when obviously you know someone said something that the words are just not good. It's two different things.
Yeah, that's the problem though, Eli. Okay, the reason Neil's jumped on it, and Neil hasn't given it enough context, you're right, but he's doing it because I did it. But when I did it, I was pointing out that they were failing to debunk the positive claim, the primary positive claim from the globe side, that we have a geometric limitation called the horizon, aka Earth curve. But Dave wasn't doing that. He wasn't being hyper-specific. He's being wishy-washy and incorrect in his descriptions of the sky actually touching the ground, the clouds actually touching the sea. Well, that's incorrect on many different levels. Obviously, now I've contextualized it a little bit further for Neil. You can understand that we're saying you need to tie down what the opponent's claim is. He's pointing at a horizon. You say it's a physical Earth curve getting in the way of stuff. Right. Now we've tied down what this is, the horizon, claimed to be Earth curve. We can debunk it. That's what we do here. What we don't do is say, does clouds touch the water? No, we're hyper-specific about what we debunk. That's the horizon claim to be Earth curve. We debunked it in 2020. Right. Dave says the clouds touch the water. There's a stark contrasting difference there.
Yeah, and the whole point, Neil, that I'm trying to make, because you got to get out of your feelings. You don't be hearing
Eli,
what
you
I'm
gotta
saying.
get out of your feelings.
Oh, weak sauce from Eli. Eli, hold on. You can't just tell him not to appeal to his feelings. Neil, I'm siding with you. Look, that was weak. Come on, Eli.
No, it's not. I'm about to justify what I said, if I'm not interrupted, of course.
You're wishy-washy with your feelings.
No,
Eli.
Neil, he's going to back it up. I've challenged him. Neil, chill. Just let him back up what he's going to say. He's not going to appeal to your feelings and your emotions. We'll see. Let's see. Go ahead, Eli.
It's constructive criticism, because what you just said, there's not a part of it anyone can clip and say, look at how disingenuous they're being. You think that they can't say anything to what you said. It'll just be left unread. The message unread. They won't. They can't respond.
Okay. We get you. Neil, you needed to give more context.
No. Almost. Versus Neil just saying he said that the water literally touches the sky. Now, if Dave wanted to, he could clip that out and say, look at how disingenuous they are. Do they really think that I think the water literally touches the sky?
That's what he ridiculous. Said, though. But that is what he said. That's what he said. Eli, don't be unreasonable. That is actually what he said. That was a verbatim quote that Neil gave. So you're saying, even though he said...
is saying, does he think?
I'm nearly there. Even though he literally said it literally touches, you're saying he didn't mean literally. That's what you're saying.
Well, because if you watch any of his interviews, any of his fans, listen, I'm all for winning his fans. We won't be watching Dave twice. I'm for winning his fans that don't watch us yet, but may come across our content and criticisms of him. I want to win them fair and square. Okay? So if they hear anything like that and they're like, oh my God, I watched Dave's show, of course he didn't mean, they're going to say the same thing I said.
No, they won't. Hold on.
Really?
No. Let me just cover that. No, they won't, because we covered it in context with lots of stuff surrounding it. And in all of it, contextually, he got it all wrong. He didn't debunk Earth curve. He couldn't even clarify what Earth curve was. He had to clarify it with the opponent 4 times. So definitely not. They wouldn't go back. Hold on, Eli. They wouldn't go back, look at it in context and go, obviously he didn't mean that. Yeah, it's hard to say that because that's what he said, and everything else he was trying to do was incorrect, wrong, and wasn't addressing the point. He had to clarify what the horizon was according to his opponent 3 or 4 times. So definitely, they're not going to get that from going and getting some more context from watching it. In context, they'd say what I said. This is shite. What a terrible, poor job Dave's doing of debunking Earth curve. That's what I did say, Eli. Neil's just parroting it.
But when I said interview, I was talking about his audience. I wasn't talking about somebody who's watching. They'll say, "Oh my God, Dave Weiss knows that the water doesn't touch the sky." These
Hold on.
FED guys are just being. So all I'm saying is, with what you said, it can't be critiqued. With what
yes,
he
it can.
said by itself, listen, what he said by itself, not that it could be critiqued, it could be wormed into this. Oh, Neil and the FED guys said this. Oh my God.
Okay,
But
okay,
they
we got
can't
that.
do
We've had
that
it three
with what
times.
he
I get it.
said
I get it.
70
Okay,
times.
I'll address it to Neil.
Why? They
Neil
should
can
go
respond.
Right back and listen to Dave.
Neil,
They should go right back and listen to it.
Turn it into a shit show. Thank you so much. Neil, that means I'm going to address you. Yeah, Neil. He's just saying, could you give more context next time rather than just drop it out in the open and bomb it into the conversation, because people can just trim it out and go, look, even if he's wrong, Eli is wrong. You couldn't go back and get contextually a different story. But on surface level, Eli's right. Without even going back and looking at it, you'd look at it and go, oh, well, clearly it doesn't mean that. So on that score, Eli's right.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, no, hold on. There's an objection to it, because most people in the Western world, when they think of flat earthers, they do believe that we think the sky touches the friggin' ground, Eli. I've heard him say it. And when he literally said it, with the word literal in it, that's a problem.
Eli?
Bingo.
Neil, shh. Go ahead, Eli.
No, whatever. Good morning, buddy.
Fair enough.
Hey, listen, debate how you want. I don't give a shit. It's not my name.
No,
Hold on.
never concede.
Doesn't this guy touch the ground? I mean,
This
what
is a
else
different
is the
issue,
ground
right?
touching? Is it
What-
air?
What's happening, right? I'm not being horrible to Eli. Eli doesn't like what's happening. Am I right, Eli?
I'm annoyed by it. That's all.
Okay.
Because it's not like I'm dumping on Neil. I tried to say, hey, well, obviously, in the realm that we deal with here in this debate, if you don't put proper context, these guys have a larger audience, and I'm not just talking about Dave Weiss. I'm talking about the larger dumb world. Okay, they will do anything to take apart what we do if we're not careful, like the Elijah Three Sons thing. Okay, all I'm saying is just what you said.
Nearly
Give
done, Neil.
context. It doesn't. We know he's wrong. Come on, Sam.
Right. I
Okay.
agree with Eli.
That annoys. Can I answer, please? That annoys you, Eli? You know what annoys me, Eli? What I heard the other day.
No, stop.
That's what
No,
annoys me.
stop. Don't want to hear it. Right. Eli, you're right. And as for the rest of the panel, we have got to listen to this stuff more. As much as it might grind your gears and you might not want to hear it and you know you've got a justification for it, doesn't matter that we've got a justification for it. And Eli's great because he's one of us, right? He's on the panel. He's one of our own. So we can listen to him easier than the guy yesterday who came in, who's like, well, yeah, but you just sound really angry. Well, it doesn't matter that he isn't appreciating the wider context of my anger. That doesn't matter. If at surface level he comes in and goes, yeah, but to me you just seem angry. I'm a Christian and it just seems like you're being really angry about it and I don't like that. It's like, that's perfectly true and valid and I have to accept that. Even if I can justify it after the fact, it doesn't matter. Do you see where I'm going?
He never claimed to be Christian.
Let's
Hold
just
on.
stick our faces
Hang
out and
on.
let everybody punch us. All right?
Hang on.
Let's just stick our faces out and let everybody swing. Go ahead.
Hang on.
He didn't
hang
claim to
on,
be
I wanna
Christian, he
calm-
just quoted the Bible. It's not the point I'm making. My point is,
Oh my
take on
gosh.
board the stuff
He
that people
quoted the
say.
Bible.
That's all I'm saying.
Nathan.
Someone who wasn't a Christian, Pence.
Ma-
He came in and started
stop.
reprimanding Nathan on his behavior towards the video.
Oh gosh. Okay, just please stop. I wasn't even there. I haven't listened to it, but I already know how to answer. Think about that. Because all you got to do is read the Bible. Be angry and sin not. You can be angry without sinning, Christians.
Exactly.
My goodness.
Exactly. And we brought up how Jesus drove them out of the temple. Maybe after we brought it up, John brought it up, but still.
And I want to say something quick about BK from yesterday. I had a chat with him yesterday in the voice verify section, and he was sincere with me, and we had a chat about his performance, and he kind of felt bad about how he behaved. So I just
Oh, well, he
wanna
shouldn't.
point that out
Oh, no. What? I'm praising him. What are you talking about? No.
Okay.
If that's how you feel after the fact, mate, don't. You had every right to state those opinions. Now, we did justify why we felt the way we did and how I was behaving the way I was. And I felt justified, obviously, in my explanation. What I'm saying now is it doesn't matter how good my explanation is. Your feelings in this regard are true whether I like them or not. If that's how you felt about it,
Nathan?
I want to know about it,
Nathan,
and I will listen.
Nathan, I've been on your show. You know I'm a Christian. I'm going to ask you a direct question, and then I'm going to explain why I'm doing it. Do you claim to be a Christian, Nathan?
There's been various points in my life that I've claimed to be a Christian. Right now, I'd say no.
Okay, so why am I going to hold you to what God holds me to when you're not even a Christian right now? So the point, so the point is, if I may finish, I don't know where I'm having feedback for whatever reason. The point is, we don't regulate righteousness on people. God convicts the heart of a sinner like me. And I got convicted to where I repented and asked for forgiveness and became a Christian. And that was at age 14 and a half, and I'm 63. Now, if someone is not a Christian, like a lot of my friends aren't, I don't expect them to have a changed heart, to have the same conscience that's as sensitive as mine. I don't expect that until they go through that process that God does to sinners. So they know that, and many times they'll say, hey, I'm sorry I cursed, or, I'm sorry. I go, look, the state you're in, you can't help yourself. You need a changed heart to be different. And I'm praying for your salvation, but that's between you and God. So again, you can't go around pushing this stuff on people, but you could be a good witness.
Well, there's another thing too. The gentleman who came in yesterday attempted to grab a moral high ground over Nathan and say that through an attack on his behavior with that moral high ground, that Nathan was somehow wrong. And then he appealed to Christians, not necessarily claiming that he was Christian himself.
Well,
So the whole thing was really annoying, is the only way I can describe it.
Again, I haven't listened to it, but I've told Nathan many times, if he does a more PG type of show, he'll gain more audience. I'm doing it for his favor so that this show and the content that this show can grow.
Right, so that guy did that. He said exactly that, and we said, prove it. Where's your statistics to prove it? I'm not doing that to you now, but only because he was being antagonistic, Huey just pulled him apart on something. And therefore it's like, okay, well, you're coming in all high and righteous. You're claiming X, in this case. You'll gain more audience if you're more civil. And it's like, okay, where's your stats to show that's the case then? But
no, I'll prove it.
I'm sure you
I
could.
share your...
It's
No, I
not
know.
it's not my point. I've immediately referenced it to you because I don't need you to prove it for the point to be valid. I know you could if you were needed to. You don't tend to say things off the spot that you haven't validated or haven't got a justification for at least saying. In this case, he didn't.
I know, but what I'm going to say is pertinent.
I can give a talk about any of this. I'm still mad at Neil.
Yeah, get in the queue.
I do think we should talk about Neil's behavior. Let's talk about Neil's behavior.
I agree. We should focus on that one specific panel member.
And he can't interrupt a single time.
I'm not focusing on Neil's behavior. Neil basically just said when Nathan said I'm a part of the panel, he's like, sure, I don't know. Like, Sam, I'm one of the best debaters we got. Are you crazy?
What's going on? You saying that Neil's challenging your prowess of...
Nobody questions debating skills. I question.
Okay, so what are you questioning?
It's just sometimes I don't feel like you're with us with the way you defend others.
I'm not at war. I'm not with you there. I'm telling you it in your face. I'm not at war. I don't give a fuck about what y'all get mad about. I'm only here for the information.
Eli. Then go piss off.
Hey, no need, both of you.
No.
What in the hell did I just walk in?
You're telling him he's not here for us. What are you talking about, Neil?
What I'm saying.
Yeah,
like, I'm not here for war. Like I'm never here for war. Like I'm not here for that.
Maybe that's
you want to see me and listen. I decapitate heads more and faster than most. Okay, faster. Chocolate, am I lying?
We know it's true. I've seen you. You don't need to.
Shit to do.
No, not at all.
You don't need to seek accreditation. I know it's true. The panel knows it's true, Eli. But carry on. Make your point.
My kumbaya, that's what you think it is, has nothing to do with my ability to call a liar. I just do it in a more effective way than some of you. Okay? So stop critiquing it. and stop talking when I want to give somebody a leg up. Just mind your business.
I'll do as I please. If I want to say that against them, I will.
You're not hearing him,
They ain't
Neil.
got no nice words
I
for
don't
you.
stop you from
Both of you
saying,
stop.
I don't
Both,
stop
please,
you, though,
please,
do I?
please,
I
both of
don't-
you. Stop 1 second.
It's not
Just one
talking
sec.
to
Just
you,
one sec.
Neil.
Stop. Neil, when he's talking about giving a leg up, he's talking about you, right? His critique is done out of kindness, right? And you've reacted badly to it. He's just saying, right? Imagine for a moment, I'm going to use Eli's example with you, right? If there's trimmed out clips and you getting called, what was the example we were just talking about? Neil's
Can you move
actual.
on with housekeeping,
Neil, I'm
please?
nearly there. Neil, the
Neil.
actual Horizon man, right? Because they've taken you saying Dave Weiss said it was actually touching, without any context around it, and they trim that out and slap it on you as a badge that they bully you with, right? What Eli's saying is, if you can contextualize it just a little bit more than you have, there's a better chance that you won't have something branded on you incorrectly just because it can be used in that way. Doesn't mean it's right. Doesn't mean you were wrong. It means that's the arena we're in. It's like, yeah, I know it's not fair for them to chuck sand in your eyes, Neil, but if you're right down the ground and their foot's near your face, they're going to kick that sand right in your face, mate. It's just the way it is. And he's trying to help you out, but you've reacted badly. So now he's getting pissed at you. I don't blame him. He's trying to help.
Fine. Housekeeping. What's next?
That's indignation rather than
I just
rather
know
than
who's
gratitude.
who. That's all.
We still need 25 minutes more to go to deal with you, Neil.
No,
Don't
see,
interrupt
I was gonna
anybody.
let the
Hey, why are you all jumping on
indignation-
Neil?
I didn't even mind. He doesn't have to say sorry. I know Neil's heart. Okay, I know we're gonna be cool later. It's no big deal. But when you say words like "I know who's who," come and meet me on East 10th and motherfucking University. Like,
Come
what are
on.
you talking
Oh, what are you
about?
gonna
What's
do,
going
Danny?
on? Why are you all
What
slapping your
Oh my
chests?
God.
We're gonna-
Oh
I'm
my
gonna tell you
God.
Who I am? We live in New
You're gonna
York.
go have some
I'ma tell
coffee.
you.
You're gonna have some
I'm
tea.
gonna-
Right,
on,
let's
honey,
solve
you-
this
we're
like
gonna
men.
do it.
You're confused.
Right, we're
Neil,
all going to get our
you're
penises
looking
out. We're going to
grumpy
flop them on the
today. You need to
table.
take
We're going to
it
see which
easy
one's
and Take a
biggest.
step back.
Can we stop
Nathan,
this?
Flatsoid
I'm
wants
just
you
gonna
to.
drop. Go ahead. You
Nathan,
go on. I will leave the show. Okay.
hang on, Nathan.
Take
No
it
problem.
easy, Neil. Take it easy.
Nathan,
Have a good
please.
day. Take it easy.
Go ahead,
Hold
Ted.
on, please. Nathan, Flatsoid would like you to announce that he's going to have Adam Meakin and Brian's Logic tonight on his show.
We interrupt this blazing row for a plug for Flatsoid. Be Here or Be Sphere on the Flatsoid channel. He's going to be interviewing Adam Meakin and
Brian's Logic.
Brian's Logic. Wow, a double duo of the best. Fantastic. Be Here or Be Sphere on the Flatsoid channel. YouTube only. Well, that might not be the case.
Hold on a minute. When I said that about attacking Neil for the next 30 minutes, I was only joking, guys.
Oh, we're not
Yeah, but
attacking
it's
Neil.
real now, so we got 25 more minutes to go.
I just tried to repackage
doing
what's
Friday
happened.
feelings.
Not feelings, into a productive education for Neil in terms of what Eli perceives as something that he even gave an example of it. It's like, here's how I get branded with that kind of crap. If you don't contextualize stuff well enough, they'll just use it against you. That's all he's trying to do. He's trying to help.
Right. And with
Can I ask a
Dave,
question?
they will use that against him when the ballers cut it out and show it to the Western world who hear about flat Earth. They're going to hear a flat earther saying that the sky actually touches the ground. So, yeah,
Yeah, perhaps.
it works both
Yeah,
ways.
perhaps.
Yeah,
So let's not just point to Neil without pointing to the other one.
that's true.
Yeah, but Dave is the one that we're trying to correct anyway. So that's a no duh. But now here we have Neil who's here listening to our corrections and why. And I'm like, well, hello, Neil, because specifically Neil was there when you remember that whole video situation that was going on when somebody pulled up this conversation that you had with Anthony out of context, and that was just like a whole nothing.
Perfect proof.
Like it
Perfect
didn't-
globe
it was
proof.
unnecessary.
Yeah, right. The lighthouse. Perfect globe proof.
Right. But now, for someone to point out, right, that you saying perfect globe proof was probably a bad move or whatever, in the moment, if you did it in public, this is different because you didn't do this in public. This is you joking around with your friends, but so it doesn't really match up. But anyway, but for someone to point out, man, you shouldn't have said that way. Why would we jump on that person?
You know what,
It was-
guys? Eli, let me come in to help a little bit. I had to leave that day on that show, but yesterday I came and listened to the show. I only got half an hour more to finish. It's like a 5-hour show. We're missing the bigger point. The bigger point is if that side, Dave and Jaron and them, would have just used the killer arguments to destroy the globe, it would have never gotten there. It would have been done right away. And that is what we're trying to say is, why are you playing around with your globe buddies when you can do the right thing and show them that we don't live on a globe? There is no R, there is no radius for you to even have anything related to globe proof. First, you got to prove we're on the globe. And they started everything they did in that. Man, why is there feedback here? Someone please close your mic.
It's something with you, because
So-
you're crackling and stuff as well.
All right. My point is, and I'll make it quick then, is that if they say this is how it works on the globe, or this is what happens on the globe, you say, great, I don't have a problem with that. Can you first prove the globe? No, we can't do that. Okay, then goodbye. See, they couldn't kill the globe, but we kill the globe every day.
Yeah, the
Well,
wider context. But again, that is Eli's point, that if you don't give the wider context, people will take and trim your clip to, in John's example, just denounce flat earthers who think that the sky and ground actually touch. Or, in the case of Neil, well, ridicule somebody who's been ridiculing us. And it just seems like a bit vengeful because it hasn't been given enough context.
All right, but let me give a rebuttal to that. Arwen came and said part of the sky does touch the ground. The air molecules that are real close to the ocean at the distance are right there at that meeting point. So you can do that if you want, but that's silly. That's not what we're talking. We're talking about perspective. Let me finish. We're talking about perspective. Again, you don't have to go there. You don't have to go to these weak situations that you put yourself in. If you just say, I'll accept everything about your globe, but first you got to prove we're on the globe. It ends right there.
Yeah, I guess your point is to you just want to place it back on the main thing, which is why aren't you using killer arguments? We get it. So if I respond in any way other than what I just said, you're going to say, no, my point is, and I don't want to do that. I was critiquing one of our members for just like there's a better way to argue. Like you don't have to latch on to low hanging fruit. I wouldn't. It ain't even a low hanging fruit.
No, it is.
Like,
No, it is. Out of context, it becomes
Okay,
low-hanging
it's
fruit,
low-hanging.
doesn't it?
So that's all I'm saying, and that's important, and it's important not to miss.
No, Eli, I'm not.
Hold on.
I think you are very good at what you do, and what you said is I agree with. But at the same time, Neil shouldn't say you're not a panel member or something like I don't know, something to that effect. He said, no, we're all panel members. We all have our style. You just
He's calling me an agent in no uncertain terms.
well, he's just emotional right now, but he doesn't mean it either. Just like you're saying, Dave doesn't mean it. You follow what I'm saying? So the whole point is, it doesn't have to get to this point.
Okay, I'm going to put a different spin on this for Eli, which is that's actually quite useful. So often in the pre-show, we'll have a long discussion, very nuanced, very specific, and then we'll start live show. I'll ask the first housekeeping question, and Neil will throw out a question or a statement that has nowhere near enough context around it. Now, everyone around him, I will say, oh, it's an in-joke or words to that effect, will know what he means. But that gives me an opportunity to contextualize what Neil's just said, to expand it out for the live audience who have no reference because they haven't seen the pre-show at that point. So from my perspective, Neil doing that, this is a case in point. We've done this for 10, 15 minutes. We've educated people on the context, trimming things out, having people use it against you, the debate discussion itself in terms of the horizon, the question in terms of why people on our own side aren't using arguments to actually debunk the claims that have come from the globe. All of this off the back of Neil. Right, I'm not even joking. You can rewind and check how this has happened. For me, that's a godsend. That's why he's here.
Right. I'm not going to argue against the low-hanging fruit claim, but I will say in context, they were arguing about whether the sun goes behind the horizon and if the clouds literally touch the sea. Okay.
Yep.
So that's the context. Don't get it twisted. Like if you're a fan of Dave and you watch him all the time, maybe you could make that argument. But for everyone else, the normal people that are just interested and tuned in, or the anti-flat earthers, or the globies who are looking into the subject, when they hear that, Neil is just pointing out that is a laughable claim to make.
Indeed. I mean, it's good. It's been cathartic for me, if that's the right word, because I've managed to vindicate myself from the claims that have been made and justify the reasoning in a more reasonable way, which is to say projection. You know, when you don't really know what science actually is, and your brothers in arms are getting hammered by somebody who knows what science is, what can you do? Well, just claim they're a scammer and say they don't know what science is. Okay, very frustrating, until you get to a point where a guy who says he's a scientist starts making a string of globe claims with science peppered in and out all over the place. At that point, Jaron's got one opportunity, basically, to justify his claims that I didn't know what I was talking about when it came to science. Here's me hammering a scientist, based on my science knowledge. Did he? Did he, hell? I did. Yeah, well, Jaron was sat there not doing it. I critiqued every last word of Jaron's useless shite when it came to science, his failure and inability to debunk anything that the man of science said, if he even is one. We don't know if they verified that. In any event, that's what we do. Now, I've trimmed that out. That's come from a couple of 5-hour shows that we've done on this subject, and it's been very enjoyable for me. I've got a lot off my chest. Annoyance, in the most part, for being called a scammer, because I know what science is. But if you remember, you can check that out. So I've put it as something like Flat Earth Scammers versus Globe Science. But as I say, that's their opportunity, or Jaron's opportunity, given that he's claiming I'm a scammer, specifically for how I don't know what science is. The expectation, when science is laid down as a claim, is that Jaron would be capable of taking that apart, and I would not. On the contrary, Jaron is a useless shit and hasn't got the slightest idea what science is, and I can demonstrate that admirably by the ass-whooping he got from a man claiming science, and me taking apart his claims where Jaron did not. There is no scamming going on when it comes to science at Flat Earth Debate. Just lies, deceit, scumbag behaviour from a shit called Jaron, who is a scammer, definitely doesn't know what he's talking about, but just pretends to know. So check that out. It's on a members only video. It'll come out on probably on Saturday or Sunday if you're not a member, and the full video will come out on Monday because it was yesterday's after show. So second channel, check it out. Be Here or Be Sphere. If you're not already subscribed to Nathan Oakley channel, you can see that full. It's actually a part B if you like, because we go through the Whitsitt, Hibbler, Dave Weiss, and Jaron debate with a guy called Bryant, who's claiming to be a scientist. And the first half was done on the show that came out yesterday on my second channel, so go and check that out if you haven't already. But the second part of it, because it was a Thursday after show, will come out for the public on Monday at 9 PM on my second channel. So subscribe today. There's links in the info box below the video. What are we, half an hour in?
What?
Let's do a bit more housekeeping.
Well, hang on. Okay, you go first, whoever that is.
Eli,
Just
go ahead.
wanted to plug Hibbler. Yeah, just wanted to plug Hibbler. So I don't know who you are, fam, and I've never seen you debate. Not going to call you a debater, but you do good production, and you just did a new production. I want everybody to go and check that out. Over, you can find it on Odyssey. You can find it on Rockfin. Just look him up. It's not on YouTube because they censored it the moment he put up a.
Oh, then you can't plug it here. You can't plug it here. That's literally against community guidelines. You can't suggest that people go from here to another website. You just can't do that. It's against the YouTube community guidelines. Okay. So yeah.
All right. Well, go to his YouTube and figure it out.
Exactly. Go to his YouTube. That's fine. Hibbler, is he called Hibbler?
Yeah.
Well, Hibbler. Hold on. I want to plug him properly. If we're going to properly plug him, let's do it. Hibbler YouTube channel. Subscribe today. Check it out. Apparently he does good. I've not seen him. Sorry, you're going to have to carry on this plug.
Yeah. Anyway, it's about the proceedings of the last couple of years. It's good stuff. A lot of clips from the past that we tend to forget, and it's good to be montaged and there in your face for you to remember. So anyway, good on you for that stuff, man. Not a fan of the debate, but you know, it is what it is.
All right. I hate to disagree with my good friend Eli. Here's why. Many people leave a cult only to fall into another cult. Then they figure out that was a cult. Then they leave that cult only to fall into another cult. Eventually, at the end, they realize, my goodness, there's so many things trying to keep the truth from me that once I realized this was wrong, I went to another one and then realized once I was into that on the surface, they got me in because it was better than the one I was in. But then I found out things. So I had to leave that and on and on. I could give you examples, but for the sake of time, let me express what I'm trying to say. We are talking about a great deception here. And we have people saying that they represent the same viewpoint that we do, which is the Earth is not a sphere with a radius of 3959. Yet they do a very terrible job at debating the subject matter because they fall into the trap of begging the question. And people are going to be following for years before they realize, you mean I could have killed the argument right away? And you've been stringing me along, and I've been in arguments with family members, always in the begging the question traps. I just tuned into Flat Earth Debate, and in one show, I know how to be a victor in this argument.
Not in this
is
show.
why
We've got one housekeeping question done so far. We're at 40 minutes.
Well, you know what I'm trying to express
I know what
here.
you mean.
Do we know what you're trying to express? I mean, really, who are you?
Oh,
Who are you?
I haven't.
Sorry.
Look, they said Nathan was a scammer. Then they decided they were going to put on a debate show to show how good they were at debating. Then, as I watched yesterday for the first time, Nathan playing their bits, pausing, and giving a narrative of what a real debate was like. Classic. I go back to my double down statement. Nathan, that was the best thing they ever did to you. Best thing. You're going to grow like a weed.
Well,
Keep
like I
it
say,
up.
I feel after doing those couple of clips, they're only a couple of 15-minute clips. You don't have to sit through a full 2 5-hour shows, 10 hours or whatever it is of material. But those couple of clips is enough for me to feel vindicated. Here's a man claiming I'm a scammer because I don't know what science is. Here's him presented with science. Here's him doing an absolutely appalling job of debunking anything that's claimed. And here's the debunk for everything that's claimed from me. The man claimed to be a science scammer by Jaron. So at that point, you're like, unless you're completely retarded, you're going to look at that and go, all right, so Jaron was just bullshitting, lying, just being a complete scumbag. So he's literally threatened your career, challenged the livelihood of your kids and you and everyone in your family because he didn't know what science was. And he decided to project that shit out to a wide audience. Well, that's a very nasty thing to do. What a wanker. Maybe I'll unsubscribe from this piece of shit who's deciding that he's going to ruin other people's YouTube careers based on the fact he doesn't understand what he's talking about. So to hide his ignorance, he's decided to affect my income. That's all this is. Jaron doesn't have the slightest idea what science is. He wouldn't know science if it slapped him in the face. But because he doesn't know what science is, he's going to call me a science scammer. That's all this is. And I can prove it. Video comes out over the weekend. Check it out. Jaron gets presented with science and he doesn't debunk any of it. He doesn't know how to. We do. I am not a science scammer. I do know what science is. I do use it to destroy, shockingly, people like Witsit as well. And Bob Nodell. Another contributing factor, let's call it, for why Jaron needs to call me a scammer when I talk about science. I'm not. He is. I can prove it. I don't just do a wiki scroll and say, look, a load of pseudoscience pretender clowns say science doesn't prove anything. Therefore, Nathan's a scammer. Yeah, that was shite, wasn't it, Jaron? That got you laughed at by a lot of people who have now confirmed to me after the fact they didn't want to be subscribed to you anyway because that's how you are. So this isn't coming to a shock as a shock to any of my audience, it seems. However, I still have influence over them. And given that the sting that was initially there from you claiming I'm a scammer to your wider audience has now faded off, I have direct influence with proof of what a scammy little shit you are. So I'll just show that to people, because that's what you are. You merely projected your own ineptitude onto me. Let's do some housekeeping. Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
Man, when I want a dog pile, I can. You know what I'm saying?
I was going to give a mathematical formula for using radians to calculate the amount the Earth should turn underneath an object at the equator.
Quick shout out to Godzilla. It says, this is the grassroots FE movement. The others are the $100 at the door crypto coin ether entertainment network. Well put, Godzilla. Far more concise and understandable than usual. No offense.
That thing.
That was like, ching. Yeah, okay, well, brutal.
Oh, God. Godzilla. What's up, bro?
I love it. Thank you for the super chat. And yes, in many ways, I agree with you. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know how they scrounge for money. And that's not something I'm really going to have much grounds to moan about, given that I scrounge for money daily on every show. So, you know, that's not something I'm necessarily going to use as a front of attack. But by the same token, you know, when you're scamming, you're scamming. And I'm going to tell you as an audience member, don't contribute to scammers. Don't give people who are lying to you money. If they're giving you useless information, if they're wasting your time, then, you know, they're not any use to you. So if that's costing you money, just stop giving it to them. You know, me, I need it. Unfortunately, I'm being attacked by these wankers who scam people and lie about knowing about science when they don't. They pretend that they can debunk globe claims. They can't. You won't get globe claims debunked from Globebusters. That's a fact. They don't debunk them.
John, how do you get a far...
I was trying to get in there too. You heard me.
I stepped over Eli last time. Go ahead, Eli.
I just wanted to, like, does it make sense to pull up the definition of a scammer? Like, because you're not selling a product. You're just trying to tell people what science is not. You're just exposing everyone that's using pseudoscience, and everyone who's also using a misunderstanding of science.
That's selling.
I'm trying to.
That is selling. You're just wrong. You just. You've never worked in sales.
Okay,
I can tell. I can tell straight away you've never worked in sales. That is selling.
Yes, I have.
All right, John.
You're right. Fuck it.
John, refractive curvature. What makes you think they haven't already given us a formula for Earth spinning with a radial?
Well, I did it in radians to help them out.
You need an R value for that.
Oh yeah. I used their presupposed R value for it that they got from a flat plane, of course. You know, so like just want to help them out so they can go observe what they claim the Earth is doing underneath objects in an inertial frame.
Well, any evidence of the R value, given that you've already disclaimed that their R value for a non-spherical Earth, because if it's been measured from a flat plane, as you just described, that isn't an R value that I'm asking for. I'm asking for any evidence of an R value for an actual sphere surface that they think we're standing on. Any evidence of the R value? Earth radius.
Oh no, it's a flat plane. We measure it that way.
It's been debunked by the Vox one.
A follow-up question. We know that Andrew Thomas Young calculated refraction from a plane, then later, with geometric considerations, applied it to a globe with an R value. Now, you're saying that they got their R value from a plane. Can you go into how they did that, John?
Well, there's two ways that they do it. One is they take eye level and sea level, calculate the differential as you rise in altitude, and then apply that arc of vision as the curvature of Earth. And then the second way is they take flat Earth elevation angle measurements to a celestial body known as Polaris to get a circle of, is it a circle equal altitude?
Yeah, circle of equal elevation, circle of equal altitude, same thing.
Yeah, and then they wrap that around a spherical surface. with
What's
the
that called?
Transformative equation.
Anybody on the panel? That's just been described by John. So the circle of equal elevation or circle of equal altitude derived from Polaris. Anyone know what's that's called?
Equatorial plane.
The equator, right? That's what you've got. The outside edge of their presumed to be a spherical surface is their equator. Now, that's the circle that you would draw if you had your position at the GP of Polaris. It would be the outside edge of that GP position. That's all it is. That's what they call the equator. Doesn't mean there's not land beyond the equator. There is land beyond what you would see if you got to that edge point. That's where you'd stop seeing Polaris. There's still land beyond it. Oh, what's that you say? On the other side of a hemisphere, you're going to assume. Why would you assume that? Why would you assume that suddenly when you move past that point, you're going antipode from where you viewed Polaris from? You're not. That assumption is merely people's prerequisite begging the question that they've been instilled with from birth. That's all that is. You get to the equator and you can go past it. That's all that means.
The antipodal belief is
isn't
based on a flat plane as well. It's just instead of taking your celestial sphere and turning it as you move, it's
God damn it.
taking
I've just
that
realised
plane
something.
and flipping it upside down.
I've just realised something. That's part of their rhetoric. That's part of anti-flat Earth put into the mainstream with the disc pancake with a second Earth underneath. I've seen cartoons of men getting to the edge and then going underneath it. So they're like with the asking us where the edge is, right? Because their edge is the physical limitation called Earth curve we debunked in 2020. So they ask us where our edge is. We haven't got one. You've got one that's a useless proof of a sphere when pulled apart. Well, this is no different. Their disc pancake, right, is mirrored in the celestial sphere when you take the two different maps. One that's going to be your map for the equatorial plane from Polaris's point of view, and the other beyond, mapped underneath. But that's just two flat planes sandwiched on top of each other. That's nuts.
No, John, please tell us how you made your kitchen antipodal.
Shout out to Unitox Family for the super chat. Thank you very much. Sends us a clapperboard. Kurt?
Well, I only measured the hemisphere of my kitchen, right? Because I only took the angle measurement from one position. I would have to go and find a different set of circumstances on the antipodal position of my floor.
Well, hang on. What did you use to do the edge of your kitchen as the northern hemisphere? What did you do? Did you use your light in the ceiling? I mean, go through it again, please.
Oh, I didn't utilize an edge. I used an arbitrary point when at pretty much the end of the flat floor, and then an angle to the light, and then I assumed that everything around me was spherical, and I took that arc angle measurement to derive I guess it would be a nautical inch distance. And then I used a transformative equation to change it into a sphere.
So if you change it into a sphere by a transformative equation and all you see is your horizon, then by assumption, there's a southern hemisphere under you. So you did go antipodal.
So if the Earth is a sphere, and you're claiming, if you're an anti-flat earther, to measure it as a sphere, then why, after taking flat Earth measurements, would it be necessary to transform it into a sphere? If your orders are always followed, and Santiago wasn't to be touched, then why was it necessary to transfer Santiago off the base? Shout out to Unitox Femi, who says, where is the edge of atmosphere rotation? Ha ha ha.
The reason they use that transformative equation is because in order to get an elevation angle, you need a flat baseline. And if they just leave it there, they have to just show the disk with no bun underneath or above it. So in order to show a sphere, they have to say, all right, well, if this angle measurement and the GP of the sun and the observer, in this case, we use the sun, if we want to put that, we have to come up with a formula to put it on the arc of a protractor so that it's like on the surface of a curved Earth. And so now it comes spherical trigonometry. That's where that comes in. And of course, you need straight lines, but they somehow have trigonometry with curved lines. But the initial measurement is from a flat plane. And your question is, why do you have to have a transformative equation if it's already a sphere? Well, because it's not a sphere, and they have to use spherical trigonometry and Haversine to make it appear like you got it from the arc rather than the disk where it's originating from.
Well, let's ask the question. Any evidence that you can acquire an elevation angle measurement from a curved surface?
Well, that's the death of them because it's impossible. That's why it's over.
What about if it skims the curved surface?
I was about to say, can I draw a line from my eye to a tangent point and call that my reference to horizontal?
What tangent point would that be?
Well, that would be my presupposition that the horizon is a geometric obstruction.
But your assumption comes with a prerequisite of 7/6 of that radius value known as terrestrial refraction or standard refraction. Atmospheric refraction means that you'd never get to see that geometric limitation you're claiming. So no.
That's anti-flat Earth claims.
Do you like that? Like I use the anti-flat
Alberuni.
earther response to you.
Yeah, that's anti-flat Earth claims. That Alberuni wasn't accounting for refraction.
Alberuni measured the height of the mountain off a flat plane. In order to start that calculation, he had to first measure the height, and the height was derived from two triangles. As he moves closer, can someone tell me, does he get closer to the mountain for the second triangle, or does he back away? I suppose if he was going to go up it, he'd get closer. I'm going to stick with that.
Closer.
Yeah,
Closer.
we'll stick with that. He draws out one triangle, and then he draws out another triangle, and the difference between the two gives him the height, with a lot more complicated maths than I'm alluding to. But that's how he gets it. He needs two angles, both taken off a flat plane, for the triangles, to the height of the mountain, to get the difference.
Right, and if you could just get past the flat plane he needed to measure the height of the mountain, I could explain to you how it's a sphere.
Yeah, that checks out.
But Alberuni didn't get past it. He measured it. He measured it flat.
He also
That's
needs
fair.
a zenith line at 90 degrees at the center of the mountain.
You're getting hung up on the flat plane, guys. See, that's the problem here.
For those of you who are new
Who's-
here, that's actually a rebuttal we got. So we put it to a globe believer when describing the elevation angle argument, and their response was literally that. That's almost verbatim. Don't get hung up on the flat plane we need. That's what we were told.
We also got, who's claiming the ground underneath the mountain is curving?
Yeah, that's another one. When it comes to the actual acquisition of measurements done from the surface you're standing on, they're done flat. When you put that to a glober, they will... Let's correct myself. When you put that to an anti-flat earther, they're more than willing to relinquish their initial positive claim, which is that Earth's a sphere. Who's claiming the surface underneath the mountain that Alberuni's measured a curve? Well, Alberuni is once he goes up it, but he's got to measure it flat first.
Well, let's not forget the hidden gem that's right here. The official story is from their side that Alberuni did this and got the radius of the Earth. Now, the official story is you can't see the geometric horizon because of atmosphere. But the official story says Alberuni didn't use any refraction corrections or even know refraction existed, but based on him, without any formulas, with a depression angle from the mountain, he got the R value. Today, they like to quote him as the father of R. But now they say, well, we can never see the geometric horizon that Alberuni saw because of atmosphere. Well, I beg the question. Is there no atmosphere the day Alberini was on the top of the mountain? How was he able to see it? I mean, the whole story falls apart.
Right. And further to that,
Nah,
the
that's some nonsense.
Go on, Chocolate.
Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was say that's just some nonsense that the people that force themselves to have to defend this model, quote unquote, that's what they have to say. All the normies don't have to say any of that because they could just believe they're living on a magical spinning water ball and everything's cool. But the guys who defend it now have to say what they used to claim, that boats are going behind geometric physical obstruction. Now they got to say, oh, well, we never expected to see that. Can't see that because we have an atmosphere.
Well, we got Fight the Flat Earth saying he can't, his hand isn't where it is, and refraction affects everything. But Alberini didn't have that problem.
The second group that Chocolate just described, the group that we were identifying in the last couple of shows, right? So if you're Joe Normie, you don't look at what's on screen now and question where H came from. You don't do that. If it was presented to you, you just understand that people smarter than you had figured it out and got the radius, and you're on a sphere and they've got all the maths for it. It's all good, right, Chocolate? That's what you're describing? Well, when that person finds out that Earth's flat by some means, there's a good chance that they're going to want to know the same as they were given in this instance with this Alberini diagram on screen now, right? They want a replacement for it. That's not to say that they're going to go out and figure out a way of calculating the, I don't know, diameter of a flat disk that they've been told that it is for the sake of argument. They just want to be told. Now, as far as I am concerned, when you have a paradigm shift of such magnitude, you'll be vulnerable. And there is a genuine sort of concern from an empathetic standpoint in regards to the address that we've done and what we've discussed on the last 3 shows with our internal flat earth brethren not debunking the sphere, but moreover punting fantasies that they have no evidence for. So when you talk about people wanting to jump out of the frying pan and into the fire tent earlier in the show, this is exactly that. People want the new guru. They find themselves falling into a new cult. And it doesn't matter if that cult is the cult of Scientology or the cult of ether. You're just falling into a new cult because you're vulnerable. And why are you vulnerable? Because up until that point in your life, somebody else more smart than you figured it out for you and they told you how it was. Then somebody else even smarter than them told you it's how it wasn't. And then you needed it replacing. So you found next man to tell you how it was again. And then someone like us comes along and says, yeah, they're not telling you how it is. They're lying too. But that's, for us, that's hitting the buffers. That's where the line ends. Because at that point, you smack into the buffers and we go, no, there is no downward bias. There is no incoherent dielectric acceleration. There is no counter space. There is no gravity. There is no sky vacuum. Yeah, it's all lies. Here's how we prove to you that it's lies. Demonstrably so. You go, well, what is the sky then? And I go, I don't know. But next man, over on Globebusters, they'll tell me what it is. They said it's counter space. It is. Here's how it is. No, it isn't. I've just explained to you how it wasn't counter space about 5 minutes ago, didn't I? Yeah, but you need to give me something to replace it with. No, we don't do that here. Sorry. Well, that's a disgrace. You need to be my new guru. Or if you're not going to be, I need to find someone. Yeah. Well, someone's always going to be out there to fill that void. If we weren't attacking the scammers that are Jaren and Bob and Globebusters crew in general for their ether counterspace scam, the cult that they're developing because they know there's vulnerable people they can exploit out there, if we weren't doing that, or if it wasn't them, it would be someone else. There will always be vulnerable folk who have their paradigm changed and need a replacement. That's most of the questions we get from anti-flat earthers, right? So where's the ice wall? That in my mind says, okay, you're latching onto some old indoctrination so that you don't have to take the new paradigm shift. But now you've got questions about the new offering which you see is lacking. That would be a fake, false, flat earth paradigm presented with models and bullshit at the feast of nonsense for you to gobble down. Well, you're smart enough to know it's still a ball, aren't you? And you're curious enough to ask how something that you're not willing to go over to works. It's like, oh yeah, you might get that on most flat earth channels until you get here. And then you don't get offered it. You get asked a question in response. Why would you be asking me what's at the edge of the earth? What edge of the earth? I don't know there is an edge. You're making a lot of assumptions and asking me to justify them for things I haven't claimed. I know it's not a sphere edge at the horizon, because you're still under the misapprehension you're on a sphere, aren't you? Here's how you're not. If the Earth was a sphere radius 3959, every distance to that horizon blocking the sun or blocking boats could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Exactly as it says in your maths, where it has a horizon marked with an X claimed to be blocking things with a hidden value. Well, that hidden value can't be further than the obstruction that it's claimed to be in these maths. Here you go, check out this image. Instead of having your Earth curve blocking these two oil rigs, which we know the exact distance to, it's miles in the distance. How can it be a hill getting in the way if it's beyond the things the hill would block? I don't wake up one day and look out my window and the things that were previously blocked by a hill are in front of it with the hill off in the distance. That doesn't happen. That's what Earth curve's supposed to do according to these maths. It doesn't do that. Bye-bye Earth curve claim. Back to the original point. You now need to know what the edge of the dome is. I don't claim a dome. I don't claim anything like that. I don't know what the sky is. I told you once already. I don't know. I just know it's not a sphere. I know it's not a sky vacuum. Well, does that mean you've been left in an awkward and painful position where you're vulnerable and susceptible to somebody who will tell you what the sky is? They'll call it counter space. Okay, I'm sorry. All I can do further to that, now I know that's the case, is warn you. Beware. People will try and scam you with a new heaven. It won't be heaven, it won't be space. It'll be counter space. But it's just a new replacement for heaven. I mean, space, or whatever it was you believed the sky was before you found out it wasn't that. Probably from us, the people who actually debunked the claims of what the sky is supposed to be. From all sides. But there we go, you're obviously vulnerable now, so if you desperately need to know what the sky is, go over there, Globusters will tell you, they say it's counter space or some shit. Maybe give them money.
Like handing out teddy bears, right? People want a new teddy bear once the globe teddy bear has been taken away. They want, but I can't go to sleep without a teddy bear. So please give me a new one. What's the new teddy bear? That's how I always see it. That's what it sounds like to me. When people are like
the background of the background.
It's the background media. We call it heaven. It's the sky. It's, you know, it's counter space, man. If you need a new paradigm, I can send you in the direction of a multitude of people that want to be your new guru. I'm just not it. And that, in many instances, may disappoint people because they may just want answers. I already know it's not a sphere.
Background medium. What do you mean background medium? Who said that? What context is that in?
Outer space, mate. But with that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. Of course, a massive thank you to today's Discord and G+ panels for making today's live show possible. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on either premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.